parents, one of the things that we're learning about is rounding and estimating. So, rounding is a type of estimation with specific rules for determining the closest value, and estimation is using reasoning to determine an approximate value or a number that is about the same. So, students are expected to round to round using multiples. So they would have to determine two consecutive multiples of tens, hundreds, thousands, or 10,000s. And so one thing I got my students in the habit of doing is we practice counting to counting to 100 using multiples of 10, counting to 10,000 using multiples of 1,000, and counting to 100,000 using multiples of 10,000. So the rounding rule that I taught my students is if you are rounding and the number that you circle is your judge, if the number is 5 or more, you raise the score. So what that means is whatever digit you are rounding, that number would increase by 1. If it's 4 or less, you let that digit rest at whatever number it's at. Another way students can think of this is as a rounding roller coaster, whereas if you're in cart 1, 2, 3, or 4, you kind of stay at the place value that you're already at, or you would round down. And then if you're in cart 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you would add one more to the digit that's being rounded, or you would round up. Students are also expected to round to the nearest 10 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 using a number line. So what that means is, for example, if we were talking about the number 36, we would have to think about what two multiples of 10 36 is close to. So it is close to, or in between, it's in between 30 and 40. Right in the middle between 30 and 40 would be 35. So I know 36 would probably be about here. And so one of the things I taught my students is we talked about a character named Foxy, and Foxy is not like a typical fox. He's not fast. He's actually very, very lazy. So we talked about would Foxy want to go to 40 or would he want to go to 30? And students should be able to answer that he would probably want to go to 40 because it's closer, and since he's very, very lazy, he wants to make sure that he gets to where he wants to be in the least amount of steps. So some more examples that we can talk about using rounding. We can talk about, let's round the number 321. Okay, and with this number we can actually round to the nearest 100 and we can round to the nearest 10. So we can round to the nearest 10 first. So the first thing that you do is you underline the tens place. That's the number that we're rounding, and then you circle the ones place. This is what's called our judge. Now we can apply that rule. 5 or more raise the score, 4 or less let it rest. Well, I know that 1 is less than 4, so I'm going to let that 2 rest as a 2. So 321 would round to 320. Okay, again, we can show it on a number line. Excuse me. And the two tens it would be in between would be 320 and 330. I know that 325 is in the middle, and so 321 would probably be about here. Again, we can talk about our character Foxy. Would he want to go to 320 or would he want to go to 330? And since he's very, very lazy, he would want to go to 320. Okay, so we can also round this number to the nearest 100. And to do that, we'll use a number line as well, and we'll use our rounding rule. So let's say that we have the number 321. The two multiples that 321 would be in between on a number line, multiples of 100, would be 300 and 400. Right in the middle would be 350. Sorry. And 321 would probably be about here. Again, we can see that Foxy, our fox, who is very, very lazy, he would not want to go to 400 because it's too far away. He would want to go to 300 because it's closer. Okay, in the same respect, we can use our rule without the number line. So we would underline the 3, circle the 2. The 2 is our judge. So 5 or more, raise a score. 4 or less, let it rest. 2 is less than 4, so I'm going to let this 3 rest at 3. And 321 is going to round to 300. Okay, when we talk about estimating, we're talking about finding a solution that is about the same value. It's not the exact value. So we're going to look at this sample problem. It says Frank collected 26 seashells. Weldon collected 73. About how many did they collect? So we know that Frank had 26 and Weldon had 73. So what we're going to do first is we're going to round both of these numbers to the nearest 10. So if I'm rounding 26, I'm going to underline the 2. And I'm going to circle the 6. Now 6 is my judge. I'm going to apply that rule. 5 or more, raise a score. 4 or less, let it rest. 6 is more than 5, so I'm going to raise this 2 to a 3, and 26 is going to round to 30. Then I'm going to do the same thing with my number 73. I'm going to underline my 7, and 3 will be my judge. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise a score. So 3 is less than 4. So I'm going to let that 7 rest at 7, and 73 will round to 70. We can also check that our rounding is accurate by putting these on number lines. So the two multiples of 10 that 26 is in between is 20 and 30. Right in the middle would be 25. So I know that 26 would be, 26 would be right about here. Again, we can think about Foxy. Would he want to go to 20 or would he want to go to 30? And he would want to go to 30 because he's lazy and because it's closer. Same thing with the number 73. The two multiples that 73 is in between is 70 and 80. Right in the middle is 75. So 73 would probably be about here. And then we can see that 73 would round to 70 because it is closer to 70 than it is to 80. So after we've rounded our numbers, then we can actually perform the operation. So what we're going to do is we wanted to find out how many totals Frank and Weldon had collected. So we're going to add 30 plus 70. 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 plus 7 is 10. So they actually collected about 100 seashells. I hope that this video has been helpful. Please leave me some feedback. Let me know if you have any questions. This is a kind of a difficult task for students, but I really believe that they can do it if they just follow these steps. Thanks for watching.